Hey, After Buzzers, and welcome to The Crossing After Show, this amazing new show on ABC. So excited to chat about it with you. We have some amazing topics coming up, including why are people washing up on the beach, apex civilian mother-daughter duo, and child theft. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Yes. We're survivors. You're a survivor. And those people that wash up on the beach are survivors.
Yes, they are.
This is The Crossing After Show. I am LoGrasso, and I am joined by
Krista, Flentje.
And we're really excited to talk about this amazing new show.
Yes.
Network TV is alive, y'all.
It really is.
It is alive. It is thriving.
Yes.
It is thriving.
Yes.
Hardcore. So because we're a little bit late to the party, we're going to start out with recapping basically episodes 1 and 2, giving the top highlights, and then we'll get into episode 3. So we're giving you a 3-for-1 special this evening.
Yes.
It's a very economical night. So, you know, the show starts out with a bang with all these humans just floating, floating around. And then there was a kiss. At first I thought it was coming from like an angel from beyond. It was like, oh, little one, live and float up to the top. But we find out later that was not the case. And these people start washing up on the shore and we think they're dead, and then back to life.
Yeah.
So, you know, the main takeaway from that episode is if you're underwater, you may survive, and also
you may not.
be from the future.
Right?
You may be from the future. When you first started watching, Krista, what were your initial thoughts of what this show might be about? Did you have any ideas? Or...
I know since it's from the producers of Lost, that's kind of what attracted me to it. So I was like, there's going to be some crazy stuff that's going on. And then when they all started floating up on the beach and you start hearing their stories, at first I was like, is this for real? Like 180 years in the future? But I like the concept a lot, so I'm fascinated to learn more.
Me too. At first I thought there was like an alien thing going on.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there might still be.
The Apex have that, you know, they're like superhuman people, so I want to, that is very intriguing to me.
So you bring up this word apex. So what we understand that to be so far is these genetically modified versions of humans.
Yes, how did they get that way is my question.
We don't know.
Yeah.
So was there a Frankenstein's monster situation where people were creating them in a lab and then it got out of hand and they took charge?
It's kind of seeming like, that might be the case.
It might be.
Because how else?
Right. So it seems like they, you know, in the past, this little girl who is one of our main characters, Leia. She reveals to the sheriff, who is also one of our main characters.
Yes.
And he's the one that was exactly Jude.
Jude.
Hey Jude. That was saving all these people on the beach, and he becomes involved in the investigation. But he reveals to her that they're from the future. Yeah. That there's this war happening between.
Could you imagine? No. Someone's just like, yeah, I'm, you know, way older than you technically. Yeah. And I'm 8.
Yeah, I couldn't. It would be very confusing. I mean, I think I'd just pass out on the spot.
I'd be like, baloney.
Yeah. But then what would happen when you're actually starting to take it in and you realize that
these stories are all like
connected?
Yeah.
True.
I don't know what I'd do. Then I'd be terrified because 180 years in the future isn't that far off. So you're kind of like, well, this is what we're going towards.
Yeah, like my ancestors will someday be
my great-great-grandbabies.
Yeah. So that was so interesting. And when they were talking about the war and throughout the episodes as they've been talking about it, a lot of different themes have been coming up for me. And I don't know if you've felt any of these, but
let's hear them.
One of them was, it reminds me a lot of what the Americans did to the Native Americans.
Yes.
And how they were here first, and then this other group came in and they were stronger. They had better ammunition.
They took over.
They had diseases, and they took over. Yeah. And I mean, that population has basically been smashed to smithereens. There's a very small amount of Native Americans left in our country now. So I thought that was interesting. And obviously, they keep calling them refugees.
Yes.
So there's a lot of similarities to, I mean, I think
what's
Assyrian
going on
refugees.
right now. Yeah,
exactly. And some people want them here, some people don't. There's a lot of fear involved with it. So I think there's some really cool societal mirroring going on the show.
No, I agree. I like that.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
So we're jumping around a little bit, but we kind of have to because those episodes were so smashed together.
Yes.
So the biggest takeaway from episode 1, though, is these people are from the future.
You learn about them a bit.
Yeah,
basically.
you learn about them. We're getting a little general picture. We're seeing that there's some tensions developing between local authority and national authority. But that's kind of where it's left at with episode 1.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, episode 2, some real bombshells.
This is when we start getting into characters.
Yeah. And you know what I do like about this show so far is I feel like I was a big fan of Lost. I don't know if you were.
I loved Lost.
Love Lost. But I felt like they gave you little morsels every episode.
Yes.
And you were always like, please, sir, can I have some more?
No, it's one of those shows where if you were watching it as it was coming out, you'd be like, oh my goodness, I have to wait a whole nother week for, no.
And this, I do feel like I have a cliffhanger at the end of every episode, but I don't feel like they bullying me with it.
No, they don't beat me over the head with it. They're like, here's a little bit, to sustain you until next week.
Right.
But
I feel
still,
like I'm
you want
being
more.
nourished.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's a healthy medium.
Yeah, exactly. Not starved for content.
Yes.
But I love that. So, it gave us this big cliffhanger going into the next episode. But then, I think it was the beginning of episode 2 where they started talking about all the different stories of how they got there, and there was this big explosion.
During the interviews and stuff, yes.
And it's experimental. But then there's this one guy who comes forward and said, oh, well, there's been another migration.
Yeah.
There's one that happened
Thomas,
before
right?
us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I actually don't know that for sure. I just agreed with you.
Okay, it's totally Thomas.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is quite a bombshell. And at that point, the lead investigator who's on scene goes to her boss and tells him what's going on and guy wants to detain him.
Which this guy got a couple questions about,
he's
too.
got a few things up his sleeve.
Craig.
Craiggans. So, I mean, just to fully, flesh that storyline out, he goes to meet with them. Yeah. And at first I thought that guy was from the Apex because of the way he reacted.
I did, too.
He was so
100%.
Scared.
I was like, he knows something, so is he one of the people from that migrated earlier?
He kind of seemed, he definitely was one of the people that migrated earlier, but he seemed like he was scared of that guy.
He was. He looked terrified.
Yeah. So that's, I think, something that we still don't have full information on.
I agree. We need to learn more about him.
Yeah, we need a clarification. But at this point, that guy, our friend Thomas, is getting detained because now he's in on the secret. He's revealed something about this guy who obviously has created a really nice life for himself in this period of peace, quote unquote. And that's one major bombshell that happens in episode 2. Also, just to bring it back to a societal level, the period of peace, I thought that was interesting because we're always talking about, oh my gosh, the world's so awful, everything's so bad. Mm-hmm. But to think that this could be the period of peace.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, it's terrifying, but it also puts things into perspective. It could be so much worse, so we should be grateful and maybe more good things will happen. They're like,
this is the good place to be right now. I'm like, it is?
It is? Oh.
What do we have coming?
Yeah. So that happens, and then we're also, was it in the first episode? No, it's in this episode that it's revealed that Natalie Martinez, who plays Reese, her daughter,
we get a bit of their relationship this episode.
Leia. Mm-hmm. And we find out how she found her. She was part of the Apex mission, and they wanted her to kill this beautiful baby, and she said no. Mm-mm. She said no, and then she took her for her own. So now we understand more why she's so dead set on getting
to her. Yeah. Plus, we know that she is literally the antidote to save, keep her living.
Right. Yeah. We found that out in episode 3, and that made even more sense. Yeah. So it's beyond that mother-daughter connection. It's literally she needs me.
She gives her life. She needs her.
Yeah, to stay alive. And then in this episode 2, our guy, what's his name, Jude. I always have the hardest time remembering people's names.
Especially the first 3 episodes. It takes a bit, too, when you're learning so much.
Jude and Reese kind of pair up. She somehow finds him, which she seems to have, supersonic senses. Mm-hmm. And she finds him, and basically
you're so right. I never even questioned why. She just shows up at his house. I'm like, wait, did you ask for directions? You're right.
You know Jude?
You know where he lives? That's so true. Her senses are heightened too.
Right. Yeah, which makes sense. Yeah. Because in this most recent episode,
brilliant.
She has even higher senses with her ears, so all the senses must be heightened. But she ends up there, and they kind of, I wouldn't say it's an alliance. It's more of a forced alliance, but he's going to help her. He lets her know that he lets the other lady. What is the lady who is in charge? Is it
Emma.
Emma,
The FBI
Yes,
federal Emma Rin.
So Emma, he lets her know that he has her and like he's gonna bring her back, and he thinks it's gonna be like a peaceful negotiation.
Nope.
However, it doesn't turn out that way, and smoke bombs are thrown in, and they end up abducting Jude.
To everyone's surprise, yeah.
Poor Jude, he's just trying to like, he's stuck in the middle of this crazy
Wakes
situation.
up in the middle of nowhere in his car.
And she ends up like breaking out because we find out she's an apex.
Yeah.
She's like a supersonic human being.
She's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was quite a moment. I mean, like, I'll never forget that thing where she like bounced down, then she bounced on
On
big
the
bomb
truck?
and just slammed herself out.
Everyone else is rewatching the footage. They're like, what?
It was incredible. It really was. I know. I want to. This is a kind of show too where I feel like I only got to do one pass through from each episode.
Yeah.
But next week
To watch again.
Yeah, I feel like I need to watch it twice because you get so many.
There's little bits.
There's
Yeah.
juicy little details.
Like I rewatched 1 and 2 since it had been a while.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I totally didn't notice that the first time around.
What did you notice the second time around that was like kind of
Like definitely
going
like how
past
you
you?
mentioned the hearing before when she was locked in the room and she like set down her gun and everything went silence. You really get a sense of how heightened all their senses are, which was great. And you learn like little things, especially with Craig and that, because they're like quickly introduced and you're like, wait, what kind of bad guy is he? Who is he involved with? That also, like, you get more details. And I like think I caught more names the second time around, which was super helpful.
You know, and one other highlight that we haven't touched on yet is this guy Caleb, and I think it's his wife.
Yeah, Rebecca and him are.
Yeah,
together.
and they seem to be really honest, at least in the first couple episodes. I don't know, now I'm thinking maybe there's something more there, but they seem like really honest, upstanding people who want to just like help. And I thought it was so interesting because obviously they're being detained, but they said something like, you know, hey, listen, maybe we're trapped right now, but compared to what we were just through, this is like
especially
paradise.
Caleb. He seems like the voice of reason. Especially when he came in and he's like, here's what's up. You know, he's trying to talk to people and calm them down. And he's like, this is the place we need to be right now. We just need to hang it with it and it'll all work out in the end. And I'm like, you go, Caleb.
It's so true, though, when you've been through something super traumatic and then you're in a place where you're not experiencing that trauma anymore. Whatever hits you, you're just like, okay.
Yeah, I'm just going to roll with it.
Yeah.
Because this is
like I already
smooth
time
sailing.
traveled and almost got murdered a million
Ended
times.
up in an ocean.
Yeah.
Swam out of it.
Is there anything else from the first 2 episodes that you feel like really hit you or that were super impactful that we should talk about?
I mean, there's just, I think we, like the lay of it, we pretty much got the big points. It's just we're learning more about them, which I like. So there's just like little tidbits, like when they were at the beach eating, and it goes with the whole Rebecca and Caleb thing. And someone was like, they're feeding us, it's fine. And she's like, yeah, I heard they eat actual animal meat. Like,
That was
yeah.
crazy.
So I'm like, what else about these people? Like, it's just how much has the world changed in 180 years? So I hope we get flashbacks with them like we did with Leia and her mom.
Right.
Because that'd be interesting to see.
The disease, I guess we learned
Or
a
flash
little
forwards.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Yeah. I hope we get to see more of them in their timeline before
Right.
they came back, the refugees.
Yeah, and what was actually happening in that time in the
Yes.
world. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Because it's very intriguing.
It is. You know what else is intriguing? Conversations with
Yes.
Maria Menounos. I love this show. I had a hand in creating this show. It's doing so amazing now. I'm a huge fan of it. So do you want to have fun, learn, and grow in all areas of your life? For those of you that do, which I think is all of us,
Yes.
we've got a podcast for you. Conversations with Maria Menounos Podcast Edition is hosted by our AfterBuzz TV founder and drops every Friday on iTunes. Conversations with Maria Menounos features celebrity and influencer interviews, along with secrets and tips on how to be better in all aspects of life. She has amazing people on there.
Yes.
She just had this woman, Anita Morjani. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but she had a near-death experience and
my
like
goodness.
learned everything from the beyond and is bringing it back to our earth.
So
and
people from all walks of life.
literally all
That's
walks of life.
awesome.
And like
Yeah.
death. too.
Yeah, and death.
And the beyond. So you got to tune in. From health and wellness to career, relationship, finances, and more, let our Maria be the big sister you've always wanted. She really is.
Yes.
Go to iTunes and subscribe to Conversations with Maria Menounos for free. That's right, free, baby. And be sure to rate and comment. And when you do, let Maria know it was us, who sent you there. Conversations with Maria Menounos Podcast Edition. Check it out. It's the best. You're not going to be sorry.
Yes.
So, as we roll into our topic 2, which is dun 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 dun.
Dramatic pause.
Da, da, da. Okay, the Hannah Apex collaborator.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So this bombshells dropped on us. Who is that guy who is like really rapey and I don't like him?
His name, I wrote it down, Luke.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's all we know about him. First of all, Luke,
Luke the Lurker.
Relax.
I hate him.
Luke the Lurker.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to call him.
He's not
from
so
now on.
hot himself there. I mean, I know she did some Apex collaboration, but I feel that she's got a good heart and she did it
like
just to
her.
survive.
She's one of my favorite refugees. So when that bomb was dropped, I was like, I want to know the extent of it.
Yeah.
And maybe she had no choice. Maybe they were threatening her family. I got to think that there was something going on that made, you know? I don't know.
do too. Just because, we'll get to it. But when she first asked the guard for sunglasses, what were your thoughts?
I was like, maybe it's a fashion statement, but also I like how she said, another thing we learned about that time, she's like, it's not this bright where I come from. So I'm like, are you guys just sitting in the dark all the time?
Yeah.
But it was just, and then we kind of see a relationship blossom between those two from it. So that's going to be interesting to see where that goes.
See, my mind went to, oh my gosh, she's asking for the sunglasses so she can stab him with them.
Oh, wow. I did not go that way. That's funny.
More normal than
no,
me.
I like that. Way to keep it interesting.
It wouldn't be the greatest weapon, but I guess she could make it work if she wanted.
I mean, yeah, she could file him down or something.
Yeah. But she just wanted them to disguise herself because as we find out later, she did something super terrible. We didn't find out in that moment, but the guy, Luke, creepy, lurker Luke, he comes up to her and is like, listen, I know what you did. And when everybody else finds out what you did, we're going to be mad.
Yeah, you're going to be
hated. That was
hated.
an exact quote.
Straight from the show.
At that point, she starts to panic because he basically said, but, like, we can work something out. Very, like...
Yeah, I'm like, ugh.
Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
It was very scary. And so you can see things are percolating. She's developing this relationship with the guard. I didn't see this part coming, though. So I thought the guard was going to willingly help sneak her out. That was what my prediction was.
I thought maybe.
Yeah.
Because when she asked him, I was kind of shocked that he said no. I was like, maybe you like her. I can tell.
Yeah.
So,
but
it's his job. So.
No, yeah, smart of him because, something bad could have happened to him. But she goes for a little ride in his trunk.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sneaks right in there.
Sneaks right in there.
Also... Do you guys not do you not check the cars before you just casually let them leave and you've got a bunch of refugees? I guess they don't think anyone's going to escape. But I'm like, maybe check your trunk.
You would think that if it was that high level of security,
there'd be a chunk check. You'd think, but apparently not because he brings her back in the same way. So.
Yeah. So she snuck in the back of his truck because there's a little protector over it. But somehow her coat got caught in there and she didn't have time to figure it out. So she just abandoned the coat, which I had to do once with an ex-boyfriend. I had to leave the coat because I didn't want to see him again. I get it. But she leaves the coat and she runs off with her little green T-shirt and she finds herself at a fair.
Yeah, the Harbor Festival?
Something. It was
some, small town, fishing town.
Right. Actually,
Harbor Fest
Jude
weekend.
said they do salmon juggling.
Yes.
So it's like literally a fish festival. And she sees this guy and she's instantly struck by him.
Oh, that was
really interesting, right? And she has this flashback to the locket that she had talked about to the guard. And there's a picture of this guy's face in there.
Yeah, and what she says to him, too, I'm like, I need to know more about this, because she was like, they told me you were one of the good ones. I could trust you. You'd keep me safe. I was like, what?
Yeah. Now, in that moment, though, when she first saw him, I thought that he was someone from the future.
That's what I thought.
And the whole time, I thought he was either, like, he got hit on top of the head.
And forgot he was from the future.
Yeah. Or someone drugged him. Or, I keep, like, hitting the microphone. Or, I'm just so passionate with my Italian hands. Or he just was playing dumb with her.
Yeah. That's why I was so confused. But then he wakes up in the jail cell in that episode, and I can't remember the other
Said
cop.
the accident.
Yeah, the other cop was like, "It's been 10 years since the accident. You need to like move on with your life." So I'm like, "What's the accident?" First of all,
I'm putting it together though, because when we're jumping ahead right now, but when the guy who was trying to kill Reese said, I haven't seen one of you in 10 years. It's been 10 years since the accident.
Interesting.
Maybe he's from the future too.
There's some correlation.
And the
I didn't
accident
catch
erased
that.
his memory.
Yeah, it could be. There's something going on that correlates with his accident and her knowing, or her people knowing him.
Yeah.
There's something going on.
I think he is from the future, but he forgot.
You think so?
I think that might be it. Because the
Yeah.
accident
What do you guys
wiped
in the
away his
chat
memory.
think?
Yeah, let us know
Yeah.
what you're thinking.
That's, I wonder.
Yeah. Interesting. So, like, this was one of my favorite scenes in the first 3 episodes, though, because just seeing the way she reacts to certain things, like, she's just trusting this guy.
She is. And he even is like, maybe don't do that.
Yeah.
A girl that looks like you
But
don't.
she's eating the ice cream. She's like, this is so good. And
Music's so good.
She hears the music, and she's like, I've never heard music like this.
Yes. And
It
what
was
does
so
he say?
cute.
He's like, well, it's no,
He's like, yeah, I mean, they're a pretty good band.
they're all right.
And then he's like, oh, yeah, it's no Stones. That's
Yeah,
what you're
it's
saying.
no
She's like,
Stones.
And he says, you need to get out more. But they're having a good time. But then something bad goes on.
Oof.
Our little guard friend notices
Yeah.
the jacket and says, I gotta find my
that's
girl.
my first thought when she left it. I was like, what?
Yeah, come on.
Babe.
Pull it out. Just pull it out.
He works for the FBI. He's going to figure it out.
Yeah. Although, maybe not.
Yeah. You know.
But he did. So he gets her, and then her other friend, like, what's his name again?
Wait, Marshall?
Marshall. Yeah, tries to save her, but
Yeah.
the sheriff holds him off.
like,
Jude
no.
holds him off. So that storyline comes to an end when he brings her, well, it doesn't really, puts her back in the truck, takes her back to camp. And then Lurker Luke,
Lurker Luke.
just is like waiting for her in her cabin.
Right?
And is super rapey again. And basically says, I own you.
Yeah.
So that's where we're left with her storyline.
And she's like terrified.
Yeah, who wouldn't be?
I would be.
And we find out she's an Apex collaborator.
Yeah,
whatever
he drops
means.
that bomb.
Big time bomb.
Dropped it.
Dropped so hard. So that's going to be a really interesting storyline to watch. She's definitely one of my favorite characters right now.
Yes.
Absolutely. And, you know, I do want to say one thing. We have amazing listeners, I can already tell,
Yes.
and viewers. And the way you can really help us, because we do this show for free. We love doing it. It's our passion. We love this show. It's so good and so much fun to talk about. But the way you can help us out is by going on iTunes, rating, liking, commenting, subscribing, write a comment in the YouTube section. It really helps us out. It gives us a little bit of clout and helps us to keep doing the show. So definitely jump on there and just type away with your little phalanges.
Yes, I see you. I see you guys all in there.
Well,
You guys are awesome. We've got Stefan Auden, Lethal West Coast.
Ooh, that sounds cool.
You guys are really chatting. You all are friends. That's great. Tanya, Lindsay. Thank you guys.
Thank you
We're
for
reading.
joining
We
us.
read everything, so keep it up.
Keep it up. Tell us
Yes.
what you're thinking. Tell us what you think of Luke the Lurker.
Yes, if you like our new name for him, because that's what it's gonna be.
That is what it's going to be. And the other thing we really want to get to is Reese, because there's just like so much to chew on here with this character.
She's a badass.
She is a badass.
Yes.
She is a survivor, and she wants to get back to her daughter. So we saw a lot of really cool, interesting things come up about her. And I have to say, like, in watching this, I've seen Natalie Martinez act before because she was on Under the Dome, which I used to watch.
She was.
Yeah. She was really great on that show. But I have to say, I have been blown away by her acting
she's
on
great.
the show.
She's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, like, she's grown so much as an actress. Really cool. So she has been shot at the beginning of this episode.
And takes it like a boss.
Takes it like a boss, walks into looks like a 7-Eleven, a convenience store, and just starts getting some supplies.
Gauze.
Bandages herself up, writes a threatening note in the mirror, and scoots on out of there, because there are people who are after her. So people from the government, from national government, who have been put on her by
special task force.
Yes, by Craig.
Yes.
Right, who is trying to get rid of her because he's also from the future and knows the Apex are dangerous. He doesn't know that this one's one of the good Apex.
Yeah, you know.
So he sends a huge task force to be, you know, just basically to kill her.
Yeah.
And she's running away from them. They end up in a forest. They're all looking for her. The main guy is back at the car, but he sends his whole team out.
Yeah.
And she just takes them all out one by one, basically. And at the end, she knows that there's one other person, so she goes toward where they had told her he was. And I thought she had him.
Frequency thing.
But the frequency thing got her. And the only thing that got her out of it was by thinking about her daughter.
I know. I loved that.
Yeah.
She was like in so much pain. And then he's like, when I find out who you're here for, I'm going to kill him or whatever, or shoot him. And she's like, no, you aren't.
Let me get this piece of wood and hit you in the head.
Think again.
So she does that, and then she exorcists his head.
Yeah. Straight
Fully
up.
turned. And she ends up driving the car. And we don't know where she's going at this point.
No, but
we know it's somewhere
she's
good.
got some intention.
She's got some real intention. And that was the moment when we heard that really interesting line where he says, I haven't seen one of you in 10 years.
Yes.
So that was the connection I was making before, right before he tries to kill her, but then she kills him.
Very important.
It is TBD about what exactly it all means.
I know. I liked your prediction, though.
Thank you.
I like it.
I think it's also really interesting. We find out in this episode, there's like a would you call it virologist?
Oh, yeah. What she like studies pandemics.
Yeah.
And, our
So
doctor, Sophie.
She's just a doctor, Sophie. So the Dr. Sophie comes in. She's an expert on virus and pandemics. And she's just like researching and trying to figure out what's going on with Leia.
At first, did you not like her? Her first couple comments with Emma, the FBI agent, I was like, she said something like, I'm here to stop a pandemic, not save a little girl. I was like,
she seemed inhumane. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
but she's growing a little bit.
But there are so many doctors like that. Sadly, I was in the hospital with my grandma this weekend, and like people are just so negative. Like there are a lot of people who are cut and dry. Yeah, they have a hard time having compassion. There are some amazing compassionate doctors. Don't get me wrong, but there are a lot of them who are more science minded, and I think she's one of them. But once she started studying and realizing, wait, this little girl has had this disease or whatever it is, virus before.
Yeah.
It looks like she's fought it off. How is she struck with it again? And what can we do to replicate that? Then Leia explains, I have had it before. I've been treated for it. But my mom is the medicine.
Yeah.
So we learned that her blood is literally been what is keeping Leia alive. And that's why she's even more driven to get back to her little girl. So that's all very interesting, and it was interesting when what was his name, the one who was taken away by them, Thomas. When Thomas comes back and is explaining to everyone, hey, you can't say anything, just be cool. They want to get us out of here. Like, whenever fear is introduced to any situation, bad things always happen.
And I loved how Caleb, again, voice of reason, is kind of on to him. And he's like, dude, he's questioning him. He's like, I don't understand.
Why they just bring in 2 months of food? You said we'd be gone in 2 weeks.
And he's like,
and his story keeps changing. So that's really interesting. And I wonder what's going to happen with that character. Is he going to get taken out?
I feel like now that at first he was supposed to be Craig's little, like, employee that he sent out there to be like, hey, round up the troops and tell him to calm down and stop talking. But now we've got Emma starting to catch on to him. She's like, your stories don't match up, and other people are. So I think Craig's going to find him as a liability, and he's going to be like outsing him.
Yeah, and okay, at the end, we had the character who is the lead investigator. What was her name again?
Emma?
Emma, yes. So we had Emma making calls about like what's going on. So do you think that Emma is on to Craig?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination, especially now that Thomas came back and she's like, why are you taking back your story about the earlier migration? And he's like, I just, people lie. I was scared. And then she calls, and literally Craig's wiped all history of what's going on at that refugee camp. And she's like, well, first of all, that's not good for me because I'm on the,
Right,
what is that?
What is she doing?
What's my outcome?
Yeah.
Like, is he planning on taking out everyone that's involved with this? Like, how do you erase that? Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder too how, because even for just a normal refugee, not someone from the future, they have to get proper documentation. They have to basically just become legal so that they can work.
And the general public still doesn't know about them.
Right.
Yeah.
How did they find their way when they first came here? And I wonder what their method was. Like, did they come through water?
And see, that's another flashback that we'd have to see is when the first migration came through.
Right.
And yeah.
That will be really interesting. There's so much like juicy, there's so many meaty, juicy places to go.
And so many different storylines. So many.
But they're all weaving together well. I don't
do
feel
like that.
anything isn't in the full world. They all make sense together.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff happening here, folks. A lot of good stuff.
So great.
What were your overall takeaways from these first few episodes? Like, what are you most looking forward to? What struck you the most? What are you feeling?
I think what I'm most looking forward to, saying it actually happens, is more flash forwards to them. Like what we got a little bit with Layla and her mom, but I want to see the refugees and like what it was actually like for them right before they came in that process of time travel. I want to see like how that went down. But so any storyline that's going to be in the future is going to be really cool to check out. But also, I think my takeaways are that I really like the show so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good. And that network TV, like I said in the beginning, like I feel like it's struggled for a while. Like there's been This Is Us and some one-off comedies that are doing well. But man, like to me, this is network TV saying like, you know what? I see you AMC. I see you HBO. I see you Netflix.
Yeah.
We're here, bitches.
I'm excited.
Yeah. It's exciting. I mean, it's a good thing, something everyone can enjoy. And we left out a huge moment, which we need to talk about, which is the ending scene. Ugh. The body drop with the note in the mouth.
Child theft.
And the child theft. We have to talk about the child theft. So poor Jude gets his little boy stolen. But I guess Reese sees it as retribution and also collateral so she can help get her daughter back.
She's a mom, so I don't think she's going to actually physically harm Oliver at all. But, you know, it's funny because right before that he was having that conversation with him like, I left to protect you and your mom, and now he said, I'll do anything to save you. And now he's in that position where he's going to have to do anything the Apex wants it's just
very interesting. Was that the guy? That was the guy she exorcised earlier, right?
Yeah. Just threw him.
Okay.
So Jude's like, first of all, who is this?
Yeah. And then that he knew to like go inside of his mouth.
Just takes out the note and he's like, oh crap.
Yeah, that was a threatening note. So we shall see what happens. We shall see.
I'm excited.
Do you have any predictions?
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
Ooh, spooky.
Predictions. Oh my gosh. I feel like there's so many different ways this could go. But I think my big one today would be kind of what we said before with Marshall. I like the idea of him. Either he's not from the future, but maybe a parent or something is, and they're the one that died in the accident, because the other cop made it sound like he lost someone in the accident, but it also could have been that he just was affected by it in some other way, like maybe he was hurt, but I feel like he lost someone who's important to the story.
Yeah.
So I want to know.
Right, and he did say he grew up there, didn't he? So
like maybe it was a girlfriend or something that had came, because we saw how he treated the girl in his like little houseboat or whatever, and she was like, who's whatever is this?
How would they have known though that he would be good?
That's
because like how could they report
like can they like
back?
If they can
report
time
forward.
Travel, maybe they've got camera, you know, like
yeah,
there's got to be something.
There's a lot of things going on.
Like a little book.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. What about you?
I feel like, I mean, there's definitely something more there with Marshall. Like, there's some connection, whether he's from the future or somebody connected to him is from the future. I think that Luke is gonna get murdered.
Yeah.
They said someone's
R.I.P.
gonna die in the preview. Yeah. Who?
It's Luke.
Luke. Death to Luke. Sorry.
R.I.P. Luke.
Rip.
Luke the Lurker's
Luke
not gonna
the Lurker.
live much
His
longer.
name didn't deserve to live much longer. And I just think it's a great show. I think there's so much that could happen. I see Jude and Emma partnering up more. And I see her like really trying to detach herself from Craig, but
Agreed.
Craig becoming like this evil force. And I think, yeah, it's just going to be good.
And also we have to have like an inevitable reunion. Like they're going to reunite soon.
With the daughter.
Yeah, the mom and daughter.
The daughter, I feel like can't die yet.
That's what I'm saying. You can't cut her off. That's like mom's going to get to you in time. I'm hoping. Yeah.
Give you a little blood. Take this, honey.
There you go. Little vampire action.
Vampire action. Exactly. Well, I'm excited.
Me too. I can't wait.
Fun. And we'll have some news for you next week. We'll be doing special segments. We just wanted to really get into the episode because we have so much to cover this week with cramming 3 into one tiny little after show.
Yes, we had a lot.
So we'll get to that next week. But for now, I think we're signing off. Any final thoughts?
No, I think we managed to cover almost all of it.
Somehow we managed.
We did it.
We did it.
Yes.
Yay. Well, thank you for tuning in. Where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me at Krista Flentje on Instagram and Twitter.
Nice. I'm going to go find you there.
Yeah, please do.
My name is Lauren LoGrasso. You can find me at Lauren LoGrasso on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I'm also a singer-songwriter in addition to this. I'll be doing a music show at Bar Lubitsch on May 26th. It's a Saturday.
Ooh.
Come on down. It's going to be at 7:30 p.m. Going to be really fun.
I will come on down.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do it. And catch us next week and join us in the chat. Tweet at us this week. Tell us what you're thinking of the show, things you think we should cover, any ideas for segments. We love hearing from you. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. And we're excited
Thank you guys.
to cross more with
Yes.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.